to the we'll call this the post game show. We don't have a name for it yet, but as long as the Guardians win, we will just call it the post game. We got Earl the Pearl in the building, and also, man, my man, Chris. Let me tell you this. This game was crazy. This game was magnificent. I was worried about this game. The Guardians at home, 3 games in a row. They got an opportunity to do something big. What was your feeling just coming into this game, Chris, about what the Guardians could have done, and were you a little nervous about them possibly dropping game 1?
Yeah, I'm always nervous. I don't care where the game is. I don't care who the opponent is in the playoffs. If you're not excited and nervous, then you're not a true fan. So what I would say is this: for people that don't watch the Tampa Bay Rays very much, they are very, very similar to us. So you heard Boog Sciambi and Doug Glanville talking about it during the game. It's almost like looking in the mirror, right? We do a lot of things right. We don't hit a lot. We pitch great. The bullpens are awesome. And that's why I expect, it wouldn't shock me if it goes 3 games. And if we win tomorrow, it's going to be a 1 or 2 run game. It's just, that's the way these teams are constructed. That's the way they're built. They're not like the Yankees. They're not like the Dodgers. They're not like the Astros. They don't hit the ball over the fence. They have to grind out every at-bat, and it's even more amplified when you're talking about a postseason series because you can really see how the scouting reports are so narrowed into focus on both sides. Like, they know every hitter's weakness down to the 1/8 of an inch. And so, man, Hosey, he hit so few home runs that direction, and I was so happy for him.
He came up huge. Earl, let's drill down on this real quick. Shane Bieber was in Cy Young form. He started off slowly this year. His velocity was down, but you look at what Shane Bieber was able to do: 7 2/3 innings, only 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 Ks. The dude was dealing. He kept the Indians in there, or excuse me, the Guardians. We'll do that one time only. He kept the Guardians in this thing, and were able to get the win. How did you think he played?
Man, Shane was dealing today, man. I like you said, I thought he was in Cy Young form. It's damn good when your ace can show up, in supreme form come playoff time and just ready to go. He had good command all day. Of course, he gave up that home run, but I mean, just solid. What 5.5 straight innings, no score. I mean, no runs given up. He was solid all the way through. The big guns show up. Chris talked about Jose. We're talking about Shane. The Guardians' best players showed up in the biggest time, and that was huge.
But you know what, guys? Here's the thing that separates Bieber from most guys who are going to be getting the ball in game 1. Most of those guys throw at least 95. Bieber doesn't. We've seen the velocity drop, and he has done a remarkable job adjusting on the fly. And I think that downtime last year with that bad shoulder allowed him to figure out, hey, even though I'm a young guy and he's just 27 years old, can I pitch with less velocity? We've seen our old friend CC Sabathia have to go through that. Pedro Martinez, who's a Hall of Famer, had to go through it. Clayton Kershaw has gotten to the other side. But those are all guys in their 30s that had to figure it out. Shane Bieber is doing it in the prime of his career, which is kind of a rarity, but he has truly figured it out. And I hope he gets a chance to see how his stuff plays at Yankee Stadium in game 2 of the ALDS, because I think it would be a fascinating matchup.
Chris, when you watch this game, just the way he was able to control the outer third, I mean, he got them to chase all game. I thought that he kept them off, off kilter. And when Shane Bieber is able to have ground ball outs, that's when he's at his best. When you look at Shane Bieber, what do you like the Rays' approach at the plate? It didn't seem like they were going with a lot of the pitches, maybe trying to go opposite field. They tried to pull the ball a lot during this game. Did you like their approach?
Yeah, I did, because it helped us. I loved it. Hell yeah.
Keep doing that.
But they're not alone. It's tough. It is tough when you're a pull team like they are. And they've got a lot of guys that do that, right? Margot is a huge pull guy. Most of their dudes, Choi is a pull guy. Mm-hmm. Wander Franco does a great job of utilizing the field, but that's that's kind of who they are. And, you know, maybe it'll benefit them tomorrow against McKenzie, you know, a guy whose fastball plays even harder than 93 or 94 or what it clocks in at. So, listen, it was great. It's good to get one of these. Man, oh, man. I'm just answering texts left and right.
You listen. I know you probably they probably going crazy over there in your phone right now. Earl, let's talk about this. I thought this was very poignant. Jose Ramirez. How often have we seen your best player might struggle in the postseason? They press. It's a different type of atmosphere. You got a young team with you, right? And you're the leader of that young team. And you just sitting there thinking, all right, I got to get us on the plate. When Siri hit the home run, right, it seemed like the Guardians could have like been a little gun shy. Some teams that are young could have been like, oh, wow, we pitched this great game. Bieber is tossing a gem of a game. And now Siri, who's hit him hard twice, now hit the home run. And now Jose Ramirez is able to come and answer. How big was that for him to hit that 2-run home run in the bottom of the sixth?
I think it was huge. I mean, you alluded to it in years past in the playoffs, and Chris, you know this as well. We've seen our superstars go cold, you know, at the worst times. You know, we think about Francisco Lindor having that cold stretch some years back during our playoff run. Jose came up huge. You know, with him being one of the few guys on this roster that's over the age of 30, being able to be that veteran leader in these situations, keeping the young guys poised, keeping the young guys calm. And then when you see a guy like that step up in a key moment, man, with a big time home run that end up being the difference maker when you're playing a team that's so similar to us, I mean, it's a damn good feeling to really witness. And, you know, he's been hot. You know, he's swinging a hot bat. He didn't tail off towards the end of the season. And he just seems locked in. He seems like, you know, that he's ready to put this young roster on his back and carry us as far as he possibly can.
Hey, listen, man. Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, here's the thing is that 2020, he had a good playoff series, albeit only 2 games against the Yankees that year in the COVID season. 2017 or 2018, he was terrible against the Astros. I think he was 2 for 20. 2017, I don't think he was very good either. So I think that he wants to show something too, because it's an interesting narrative on Jose, right? We know all about him. I think nationally people know about him, but now he's not the underpaid guy anymore. I mean, let's be honest. He's a 9-figure dude. Whether or not he could have gotten more in 2 years in the open market, he probably could have. But mid-100s is still nothing. It's not nothing is what I should say.
Right.
So, I mean, now he's got to do stuff like that. And I think it's a huge relief for him, too. He's not as good a hitter from the right side. He doesn't have as much pop. I'm sure he's looking forward to facing my buddy Tyler Glass now tomorrow. We are a much better left-handed hitting lineup than we are right-handed. And it's a really, really good deal. And I got to tell you something. I was really impressed with Emmanuel Clase. I was worried when Boog said that he hadn't gone more than 3 outs since last September of 2021.
About the same thing.
It's not an easy thing. We're not playing MLB 2K here. Like, this is a real person that has to get a critical out in the 8th inning, sit on the bench, wait 10 minutes, warm up. It totally got out of his routine. You've seen some closers have a tough time in the postseason because of that, because they're not used to it. But the fact that he came out and just mowed them down, that was awesome.
Chris,
you know, you take a look at sorry to cut you off there. I was just going to add this to what he was saying. Siri had hit Bieber hard twice. So we knew Tito was coming to get him. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, this is a tough one. He's been seeing the ball very well. And he was pretty much the only guy that was really getting a good wood on the bat. So for him to come in and be able to get guys out, I think that really helped him out a lot, especially he in the back of his mind, he knows that stat exactly as we do. He knows that he hasn't done that in a while. So that was really huge for him as well.
Well, but not only has if you were excited that it was Emmanuel Clase when I popped back, like they went to break quickly. They didn't show you'd seen Karinchak and Clase warming up, but I was like, man, I'm talking to my oldest son on the phone. I was like, is Karinchak really coming in here?
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't want.
And
I want no parts of that.
When we popped back on the screen and it was Clase, I was like, oh, oh thank you, Lord.
They didn't do it. He looked at Fred Sanford. I'm coming to see you.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I am Elizabeth.
I mean,
Earl, you had something to say. Go ahead, Earl.
Yeah, I was going to say, not only did Clase do it, he did it like in such dominating fashion. I mean, 11 pitches, 10 of them for strikes.
Yeah,
like it's crazy how dominant he continues to be, and not to be in this situation often and just come in and pitch the way he did to close it out. This thing is feeling good, Chris. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it feels good.
It's good. Listen, they are, as I said, we're not going to run away from teams. Like, we don't score 7 runs, particularly against a good pitching staff like that one. And it's really interesting. So on the Rose rotation, I have a half dozen active major leaguers as my rotating co-hosts. Mm-hmm. 2 of them are going to be facing each other tomorrow. Austin Hedges is one of them. Tyler Glasnow is the other. And Glass just came on the show last week, and I said, listen, there's a real possibility that you guys are going to play us in the playoffs. I said, I can't root for you. You know that. He's like, oh, no, I understand. I wouldn't expect you to. I don't want you to. I was like, yeah, why is it always on the podcast host who has like his allegiance? Why can't you just throw 90 down the middle against my guys?
Tell me about it. Let's drill down on that. Game 2 starters in the books, Tristan McKenzie versus Tyler Glasnow. You talked about him. You're familiar with him. McKenzie led all Guardians pitchers with a WAR of 4.0. When you look at this matchup tomorrow, the 2 Shanes today, they dealt. The 2 Shanes really did their things. And to be truthful, what is like McClanahan?
Yeah,
he had a night. Yeah, he was. I'll give you half credit on that one for helping me out on that one. He actually pitched a real good game too. I thought, lefty. He throws the ball hard, very hard to locate the baseball. And the only thing that happened to him, he made a mistake to Jose Ramirez. And that's the thing about 3-game series, right? Like, you can make one pitch, and it's like boom.
Yeah, and listen, the pressure is also on these managers in terms of how long you let guys go. Today was easy for Kevin Cash and Terry. I mean, it was easy. Their guys were just dominant. They very rarely got into jams. Bieber didn't get into a jam at all. He gave up a solo homer. McClanahan got out of that first and second with 1 out, and he got Owen Miller to ground into a double play. So tomorrow's going to be interesting. Glasnow, for people that don't know, was one of the best pitchers in baseball for the first half of 2021. He then had Tommy John surgery. He's been on my podcast throughout, so I've been following him the entire way. And there were times where I didn't feel like he was going to come back at all in this season. He was going to have one more year left on his deal. Then he got the extension done. Then he came back, and I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. He'll give you a max tomorrow of 5 innings, unless he's got like 40 pitches through 5, then he can keep going. But I would expect him to be a 5-and-fly guy. So we'll see. The only damage he gave up was to Gabriel Arias last week on that monster home run. But other than that, Glasnow has looked really, really sharp. He's basically a 2-pitch pitcher. He's nasty. Fastball, curveball.
Chris, what Tristan McKenzie are we going to get tomorrow? Every time I watch Tristan, it's kind of feast or famine.
No, it's not. No. He is he's dialed in. Now, he's a little bit like Bieber in the sense that he'll, even more so, the propensity to give up the long ball, right? He'll give up home runs. They've got to be solo shots. And I would say for him, the biggest deal is to get through that first inning, to get a taste of what that is like, what that atmosphere is going to be like. You saw how excited Bieber was. I mean, Bieber never shows emotion. And when he got Randy Arozarena to strike out to end the first, he gave it one of these, and for these guys to experience it. Remember, Bieber pitched in 2020, but there was nobody in the stands.
Nobody was there. Nobody at all.
It's different. It's a different animal now. And I am a huge Tristan McKenzie fan. I'm a huge believer in him. Could he give up 1 or 2 solo homers tomorrow? Absolutely. But we got to score. We got to freaking score at some point.
I look at listen, Chris, I tell you what, man, I'm right with you. I think Tristan McKenzie His stuff has been electric the last 2 months of the year. Sticks is out there throwing the ball, man. And you know what the great thing about it is? I want to see if the Guardians got that killer instinct. I want to see if they don't come out tomorrow and say, look, let's go ahead and put 3 on these boys real quick and see how they react. Because when you get a 3-game series, I've always said one of the best ways that you can give this team even more confidence, because right now you look around, nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to play the Guardians right now. And if you're looking at it, if they can go out and get a win tomorrow and sweep this series, they are looking like a team that's going to be poised to make a really big run in this playoffs.
Well, I'll say this. I don't think the Yankees are afraid of Cleveland, and they shouldn't be. I mean, really, let's be honest here. The way that they play baseball is different than the way we play baseball. And that's exactly the way we as Clevelanders should
like it.
We want to be we want to be stealth. We want to fly in there, do our thing, get out. Like that's exactly the way it should be. So let's get it tomorrow. I really hope that it happens for us. I've seen a lot in the chat that Owen Miller's going to be back in the lineup tomorrow.
Do you think he's going to
be not be back in the lineup? And the reason 216 diehard that he was hitting behind Andres was hitting behind Owen Miller was because there was a lefty on the mound, and so they wanted to go righty in Oscar, lefty in Naylor, righty in Miller, and lefty in Jimenez, just in case we were able to get to their bullpen. It makes it a little tougher on Kevin Cash. And Owen Miller will not be in the starting lineup tomorrow unless somebody is ill or something like that. Will Brennan will be in there against Clase now. It'll be very interesting to see what sort of lineup we go with tomorrow.
I'm interested to see Will Brennan tomorrow. I saw him in the season finale, and the kid is sharp, man. He's definitely made the most of his opportunity since he's been up here.
Well, he's what he is I like he looks like a slow heartbeat guy. And that's an expression in this sport where some guys, they get in the batter's box and you can see it. Like there's just too much going on. Like, guys, this isn't the NFL. You got to take a deep breath or you're just going to be spitting yourself onto the ground on an 83-mile-an-hour hammer. So you got to be careful. Will Brennan, and that's why they brought him up these last few weeks. Like when he came up, I was like, what's going on here? Well, they had a plan. They knew they were going to have a roster spot on the 40-man. And I like him, man. I dig these young guys they bring up. Oscar has been great all year. Obviously, Quan. To have 17 freaking kids make their major league debut and you're a win away from playing the Yankees in the second round of the playoffs, man. It's unheard of.
Chris, let's enjoy this. Help me out this, because this is what me and my friends have talked about. I know it. I'm not the biggest baseball expert, but I know enough to know that when you're that young and when you're doing the things that you're doing, teams this young with this much youth doesn't necessarily always have this much success at the major league level, especially this time of year. Is what they don't know actually helping them? Because they really have no business being in this position, right?
Well, they do and they don't. I really think that the organization looks for a certain type of player. A guy who's not afraid, maybe a guy who's not expected to make it. I mean, let's be honest here. Oscar Gonzalez should be in another organization right now. We left him unprotected in the Rule 5 last year after he'd spent 6 years in the minors with our franchise. Even though he had hit all those bombs in 2021, any team could have had him. Any team. And so he was actually quit upon by Cleveland. Stephen Kwan. Have you ever stood next to Stephen Kwan?
Yes. Yes, I have.
There are kickers in the NFL who are like, dude, you are small.
He's horse jockey small. He can be on cigar or something. He's just that's how small he is.
He's tiny. Yeah, he is not a big guy. So there are guys in this team that have been thrown away by other organizations, weren't wanted. I mean, Josh Naylor was a first-round pick of the Marlins, shipped over to San Diego. You're not good enough to play here. Go to Cleveland. These guys, they've got a chip. Whereas there's not a ton of guys in the Yankees organization. They have a few. Nestor Cortez has been dumped by several teams, including the Yankees before. So it's, there are guys on that team who are in kind of a similar mental mindset as the Guardians players. But I think we're a totally different breed. We're a different breed. We're easy to root for. And we got to get a couple more hits to make us a little more fun to watch in the playoffs, because I don't know if my cardiologist.
Well, let's get to this, man. There's 286 people right now, taking Guardians content. Right? People say you can't talk Guardians in this town. People say you can't. Hey, we don't want. Listen, there's 286 people in here. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Subscribe, because we give you all kind of content on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're just not a Browns channel. We're not a Cavs channel. We support all our teams right now. 286 people. We got about 10 minutes more with Chris. Shout out to Chris Rose, by the way. Long time MLB network, works with the NFL network now. One of the best baseball minds in the industry. What we want to do is we want to get some of your questions out to him. If you got a question for Chris Rose, we'll take it in the chat as well. Go ahead.
Forgot one thing. Gotta let the people know we here for the whole series. We here doing post game for the entire series.
Yes, tomorrow I think we might have Travis Hafner on. I think we got Travis Hafner on, which is that's kind of crazy, right?
I'm gonna definitely lose the eyebrow battle against him. He is
world champ.
If there were ever a seating of professional athletes with best eyebrows, Pronk is at worst a 4 seed.
Man, at worst, it's him, Oscar the Grouch, and the Cookie Monster. Like they right on it. You know what I'm saying? They dare. Let me ask you this really quick question before we get to some of the questions in the chat for you, Chris. The Guardians play. You talked about the bats. They play a unique style of play, right? They lead the league in the least strikeout rate and the least swing and miss rate in the entire league. They just put the ball in play and they run the bases hard. It's kind of an old school style. You see guys trying to move runners. They steal bases. I think they got 3 or 4 guys over 20 stolen bases during the year. Now, why is this style you don't see prevalent as much around the league? People are waiting for the 3-run homer, right? Let's get on, hit a bomb. Why does Tito implemented this, and why is this such a strange style to see in Major League Baseball?
Well, because our payroll's so low. Other teams are busy paying guys that hit the ball over the fence. What has transpired in baseball over the last decade is that a lot of the front offices think exactly the same way, okay? A lot of them are Ivy League kids. A lot of them are into numbers, which is fine. I'm all for sabermetrics, et cetera. And they say that I'm okay with the number of strikeouts as long as my team can hit 2- and 3-run homers. And we like that. I mean, you can equate it to the 3-point shot in the NBA. Not everybody is Steph Curry, right? Not everybody should be shooting there's no way teams should be shooting 63s a night. But they're okay with it because we do the math. 3 is better than 2. So it's just hard to string together consecutive hits, particularly at this time of year. You saw it today. It's not easy. And that's why I think a lot of people are curious about the Guardians, because it helped us win 92 games this year. But when the scouting reports are down to a T, like, can you do that against elite pitching in a 5 or a 7 game series, or heck, in a 3-game series? So that's it. It's just that choice.
I know you want to get to the fans and let them get their questions in. Chris, real quick, the challenge that happened, break that down for the people who didn't quite really understand what was going on there.
Oh, the challenge?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened on that ball is Ahmed did the right thing, right? He's almost at second, because if the ball lands on the track, he wants to be able to be as close to second as possible without truly touching the bag. Because if you hit it once, if the guy catches it in the outfield, you have to hit second again to go back to first. Mm-hmm. Because if you only touch it once and you go past it, you can't cut through right in front of the base. You have to touch it again on your way back. I think what Kevin Cash was doing, and I couldn't exactly hear the crew chief, Teddy Barrett, because the microphone wasn't working. I think what he was saying is we're going to see if he hit the base at all, because you couldn't tell if he touched it when he was right next to it, and then he continued on with the home run trot.
Okay.
I think that's what he was doing. I don't think he was checking to see if he hit it once, then went backwards, and then would he have to hit it again on the home run trot. So I'll be curious to hear what they're thinking, but that's primarily what it was. Regardless, it would have been the most Cleveland thing ever if they had taken a run off the board, and I would have had to go get a new TV today.
Oh, that would have been after a home run. It would have been ridiculous, man. Let's see what this is. Says, what's up, Chris? People are saying that the Guardians are playing with house money here in the playoffs. Do you feel that way, or do you feel that the team could play with just about anybody? That's from Talking to Grub and Media.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that most people do feel like it's house money, and I feel a lot like I did in 2007. We had a lot of guys who had career years. So, yeah, I mean, yes, I think that they are playing with house money, but I think that's the best way to roll, too, because there's been a couple times we've been favorites, and it hasn't exactly worked out. Here's what I would say. I love my hometown. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the Guardians. I love the Browns. I love the Cavs. My two boys that grew up out here in Los Angeles are enormous. They're only Cleveland sports fans. We have to stop having this little complex like, why isn't anybody talking about us? Listen, if we win the whole freaking thing, they'll talk about us. That's all you should care about. That's it. And if the season ends this weekend or next week against New York or whatever, then we can go back and look back on the season and realize what a great ride it's been. But in the meantime, let's just go. Let's just shut our mouths. Let's roll. That's it. That's what I would say.
I agree with that. I remember Fanta talking to me, and he was saying, this team has peaked a year early. So anything that we're doing at this point is just a bonus. You know what I mean? And I'm with you. Never mind the noise. Block out the noise. Let's just go win the whole damn thing, and then everybody be talking about us all winter. So
hey guys, don't think I haven't thought about this. Okay, so I've worked at John Boy Media now for the last 18 months or so. If you're not familiar with it, it's a streaming platform created by a couple of good friends, great dudes who are in their early 30s. It is primarily a Yankees company. What I mean by that, not the content is, but I would say 70% of the people that work there are diehard Yankee fans, okay? It was created by a couple of Yankee fans, but most of them are not the obnoxious Yankee fans. We know plenty of them. Next week, I have to go up there. Not have to, I want to. And we're going to live stream during games 1 and 2 of the ALDS. So it's going to be during the Yankees games. Can you imagine what it's going to be like if I am the lone Cleveland supporter in a room of about 20 people?
Let everybody know where they can find that out. We will put that out so they can watch you.
I will tweet it out. It's at Chris Rose is my Twitter handle. And y'all are going to have to join the chat. We have a live chat just like we do here.
Okay.
Please help me.
Listen, we will bum rush it, and we'll have your back. We'll be obnoxious Cleveland fans. We'll come in there with all this extra exuberance. Young kid. And people are saying, speaking of these questions, people saying, this is from Landon Frame. He says, do you think the Guards have a real chance to win a World Series in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the bullpen is built the way it needs to be for a World Series run. I do believe their starting rotation is good enough. I really do. The question is, are we going to hit enough? It's a fascinating case study. Oh, I'm just telling you. 71% of the runs scored last year in the playoffs were via the home run. 71%. That means almost 3/4 of the runs were scored via the home run. We just don't do that a lot. But look at today. Only 3 runs of the game left the yard. And the question is, can we do that enough? More importantly, can we prevent the other team from doing it enough to where we advance? And I do think,
go ahead.
I do like where we are. I like where we are. I love the mentality of this team.
And it's so funny that you bring that up, because the next question was from Zach Huffman. Are you worried about the scoring runs? And heck yeah.
Yes.
And that's okay. That doesn't mean just because you're worried about an aspect of your team, that's being realistic. We're a middle of the pack team when it comes to scoring runs. We're 29th in homers. Those are facts. That's okay.
We'll take an occasional long ball. I was encouraged by the fact, this is why you get really scary in the playoffs, right? It's baseball more than any other game to me is a game where if you get in, you can make some noise, right? You can do some stuff. Like if you watch basketball is already predetermined. It's almost like the top 5 teams or 4 teams are going to win a championship or have the chance to. And there's the rest of the people. In football, yeah, I mean, there's one team. I think the Baltimore Ravens won as a wild card and went all the way through. But generally speaking, who's a playoff contender. In baseball, we've had teams like the Nationals win, and we thought they had no chance of winning. The Marlins have won a couple of times, thought they never had an opportunity to win. So if you can get there and you have great pitching, I think you got a little bit of a shot.
Well, I'll tell you this. Last year, there were 10 teams in the playoffs. The Atlanta Braves had the fewest regular season wins of any of those 10 teams. Now, they played really well from about mid-August on, and they captured a division that let them hang around. They finished with 88 wins during the regular season. They ended up winning it all. So, yes, it can come out of nowhere. It can happen. Freddie B, I'll answer your question. Who's the 4th starter in a 7th game? So you're just asking, I mean, it's Aaron Savali. It's just he's not on the roster right now because they don't need him. You don't need a guy who just pitched in the middle of the week. The next time we'll see him. But all right, let's put it this way. You want to see Aaron Savali pitch. That means we are in game 1 of the ALDS in New York. He will be starting that game.
We ready to go with that, man. Guys, we are 319. We'll make sure everybody definitely does their thing here. We're gonna wrap this up and do a little something. Look a little forward. We'll get the keys to victory coming up in game 2. 322 people in here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button and the notification bell so that tomorrow when we do the same thing, you guys will know where we're at. We will be back tomorrow. We will have another guest. We will talk to Travis Hafner, Chris Rose, legend in the game, especially when it comes to actually, to be truthful, a lot of people didn't know. The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is just a ripoff of the best sports show, daily show, period. Right?
No, believe me, there's people that knew that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, my man. Hey, like the executive producer of this thing is a very, very good friend of mine, Steve Becker.
Oh yes.
Yeah, me and Steve talked this
Where do you
morning.
think he worked? Where do you think he worked?
Yeah. Listen, I said, so I'm DeMarco Favre.
All right, you just combined DeMarco Favre and Brett Favre's name together.
Yeah.
Let's not do that to my man D. Favre.
Hey, you know what? Look, that is a no-go right now. That's
no.
Scorched earth.
Yeah.
You can still say John Sally though, right? We good. Shout out to John Sally.
Yeah, I still text with Sal. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while,
man.
but yeah, what we should do is we should bring that back for a 20th reunion special somewhere down the line.
Man, that people don't know. I watched that show every day. Like that was the that was
we call that? We call that poor parenting.
Facts, Chris. Man.
I tell you what, man. Moving on, we're gonna wrap this thing up. What are you looking forward to tomorrow? What's the keys to victory? And will you be? Do you think the Guardians have to win tomorrow, or you cool with them? If they don't win, you got faith in Tito, they'll come back and win it, or in game 3.
Well, listen, you want to slam it shut tomorrow. It's not a must win. It's just not. The thing I worry about is that Springs, who would likely go in game 3, is another left-hander and diced us up the other day. He is not like McClanahan. He does not throw 97. He does not live up in the zone. He's much more like a left-handed Shane Bieber. He cuts the ball, he moves it, he darts it around. And we didn't look great against him in that last regular season series. That's what scares me. So, listen, Tyler Glasnow is a good buddy of mine. I wish him well, but dude just signed a $30 million extension. He's going to be fine one way or another, whether or not he pitches well or doesn't tomorrow.
I like
Tyler,
that you're prefacing this.
Yeah, if you're tuning in right now to this show, I'm sure you are. You might even be in the chat with a burner account. I'll take you out to a nice dinner if you just don't pitch well.
Hey, listen, I'll take that. Earl, any final words for tomorrow, man? What you looking forward to?
Well, I thought we saw something very unique in game one of this entire playoffs, man. You got both starting pitchers recording at least 21 outs. And like Chris said, man, I just don't think you can live and die like that, going forward. I think you're going to have to be able to put some runs on the board. I think Jose will stay hot, but I look for certain parts of that lineup to be able to heat up tomorrow and just do something a little different. Like I said, 21 outs, that's damn good, but you can't expect that to be the case tomorrow. I think you're going to have to give Tristan some help. As Chris said, if he can get through the first inning, I do expect him, to being totally honest, to probably give up a few runs. So we're going to have to score a few more runs than what we did today.
Yeah. I mean, listen, guys, it's not easy. This is the way these teams play baseball. They just do. And baseball's such a weird game because if a guy goes 0 for 4 in a given day in July or 1 for 12 in a 3-game series, you barely notice. You barely notice. But because the stakes are so different in a shortened series, everything is magnified. And those guys feel it when they're up at the plate and they don't perform. And, you just hope that a guy like Stephen Kwan feels better about his at-bats tomorrow. Shakes it off. That's one thing he's been great at. It's just being the same guy every day. So let's feel good about this tomorrow. By the way, I heard the weather's going to be nasty tomorrow.
That's perfect. We want to make it ugly. The Guardians are always about making it ugly, but you guys are pretty. Thank you for supporting the Guardians post-game show. We'll be back same place, same time, right after the Guardians end up with the game with the Rays. We'll come back and do that. For Earl to Pearl, the great Chris Rose, it's G. Bush signing off for the Guardians post-game show. Guardians beat the Rays 2-1 in game 1 of the American Wild Card Series. We'll see you at the end of game 2. We appreciate y'all. Hit that like button and subscribe. Peace.
Guys, thanks.
All righty.